Hi, I'm Nihar, and my topic is the exploration of the genre of modern pop music as a culture. Since pop music is popular music, it has been around ever since humans started making music, but the modern pop music movement began around 2010, when a plethora of advancements in concepts such as streaming made pop music accessible to more and more people. For this project, I chose to focus on American pop music in the modern era, meaning the music of the 2010s. This music is meant to appeal to teenagers and young adults, essentially the millennial and Generation Z kids, as the lyrics focus on many of the relatable themes of this age group, as will be explored in the next slide. Pop music is comprised of a variety of different subgroups, most of which are concentrated in 3 cities: Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York City. The greatest difference in demographics seems to be between the South and the North, with the South being more of the turf of folk, Christian, and country. Some common themes explored by modern pop music tend to be things like love and attraction, money, especially in the subgroup of rap music, and something that has especially become more evident in recent years, songs about social change. This includes songs about politics, such as Katy Perry's Chained to the Rhythm, and female empowerment, such as Daya's Sit Still Look Pretty. It is also necessary to mention Childish Gambino's This Is America, a song that depicts the United States from the point of view of an African American. Something that sets the music of the 2010s apart from other decades is the fact that the decade saw a return to pop deities, in a sense. This particular had not been present in pop culture since the 80s, the days of Madonna, Michael Jackson, and Prince. In addition, a particular is the fact that modern pop music has a lot more international influence. The first example that comes to mind is naturally Latin pop, popularized by Justin Bieber's 2017 remix of Despacito. However, international singers also entered the American spotlight, such as Adele and Ed Sheeran, both from the British Isles, as well as Lorde from New Zealand. The Far East is also a feature of modern pop, with the creation of K-pop bands as well as the early 2010s era of Psy, with songs like Gangnam Style. An example of material culture of value isn't even physical at all. It's digital. The 2010s were defined by the fact that one could stream music online, with apps such as SoundCloud, Spotify, and Pandora, but also with things like YouTube. An example from the actual songs themselves is the example of money. Many songs and artists preach the value of money and the various things it allowed one to buy, like cars, in the 2015 song Starboy by The Weeknd. Another example of material culture is the fact that many celebrities of music have begun endorsing products, and some have begun to create their own products, such as Kanye West's $1.5 billion Yeezy shoe empire. Exploring the music of the 2010s will show that teens and young adults place an emphasis on partying and having fun, exemplified by LMFAO's 2011 song Party Rock Anthem, and Flo Rida's 2015 song My House. The generations that grew up with this music also tend to be more expressive, and the songs reflect that expressiveness, with many artists singing about their internal struggles. Modern music believes in the self, and the fact that bettering one's own self is a good path to improve one's mental health. This can be shown in Sarah Bareilles' 2013 song Brave, and in 2 songs by the artist Sia in 2011 and 2016, Titanium and The Greatest. The 2010s normalized the fact that anyone could create music, that it wasn't just something for a specific group of people, seen by the rise of artists such as Justin Bieber and Daya, and perpetrated by the fact that SoundCloud allowed many more people to create their own music. Symbols are very evident in modern music, with artists and bands, like the recognizable symbol of the band Coldplay, as well as the 2 triangles that represented the late Swedish singer Avicii, but also with creators' albums such as Imagine Dragons' 2017 album Evolve, and Ed Sheeran's album Divide of the same year. Stereotypes of people who listen to pop music include the fact that some can be perceived as stans, or fans very devoutly committed to one singer, but the fact is that stan culture has not really been present since the late 1990s and early 2000s. Another stereotype that exists is that the listeners are conformists as they listen to the type of music that is popular. While this may be true to some extent, there is still the fact that pop music listeners and even singers cover a vast variety of different styles and come from different places with different beliefs. There's also a notion that people listen to pop music to fit in or because of peer pressure. But again, the variety of different singing styles that exist in pop music means that it is impossible to come up with one generalizing term for people that listen to pop. When it comes to society's perception of pop music, a heavy hitter seems to be that pop music nowadays perpetuates violence. A notion of critics of pop music, especially those like the infamous boomer generation, who have grown up with other forms of music, is the fact that it could be perceived as violent. However, it has been proven that there is no significant correlation between violent music and violent behavior in teens and young adults. Instead, most of this music promotes a positive message to millennials and Generation Z. Simply, when it comes to social norms forwarded by pop music, the fact is that much of what is called pop goes against the social norms of the modern time period. As said earlier, the themes of these songs shift away from things like love and towards things like social change and changing one's own self. The music also definitely seems to give a vibe that anyone can be anything, as songs like Katy Perry's Firework and other such songs show. These songs very clearly show a cultural shift in America, and it is that cultural shift that continues to manifest every day. The songs show that American culture, while still maintaining many of the traditional values of things like wealth as an indicator of success, also is shifting towards a society focused around the betterment of the South and betterment of the society, which is one of the many reasons that the traditional criticism of pop music is wrong. A plethora of songs demonstrate this, from High Hopes by Panic at the Disco to Katy Perry's Roar to Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. The obvious answer when it comes to the connections with other aspects of society is that of politics. A lyrical analysis of Chained to the Rhythm by Katy Perry would reveal Perry's views on the administration of President Donald Trump, who had been elected a year before the song was released. And the simple fact that international music has begun to be popular in America reflects the nature of America as a melting pot of many different cultures, a melting pot in a way that hadn't existed in years past. In the 2018 song This Is America by Childish Gambino, the song features 17 seconds of silence. According to the artist, this is to honor the 17 people that were killed in Parkland, Florida earlier that year in February, the shooting that sparked the Never Again movement. The music of Lady Gaga as well, upon lyrical analysis, shows that it is about the LGBT rights movement. Her 2011 song Born This Way sent a message to the LGBT community of America that, quote, God makes no mistakes, and that everyone is beautiful in their own way. For many members of the LGBT community, these words were, pun definitely intended, music to their ears. The theme of the music of the 2010s preaches an important story about acceptance and equality. Essentially, it is about a breakdown of the divisions that previously existed between social classes. The example that comes to mind first is the collapse of the division between straight and LGBT, a certain level of equality that had not existed before. The previous slide mentioned the influence of Born This Way as an LGBT anthem, but it is important to note that within the course of a decade, music progressed from an LGBT anthem to Halsey's 2017 bop, Bad at Love, in which the female singer casually mentions relationships with other women. Within 10 years, society had normalized LGBT so much that it appeared in a song later in the decade casually. The 2010s were also about a breakdown of the division of economic class, demonstrated by Sia's 2016 song Cheap Thrills, in which she sings that she doesn't need money to have fun, ironically devaluing money. A third example of this breakdown in social divisions is demonstrated by the amount of songs that were produced during this period about gender equality and women's rights. Alicia Keys' 2012 song Girl on Fire paints a picture of a girl so powerful in her own right that she is described as being on fire. The first song I chose to analyze was the 2013 song Happy by Pharrell Williams. This song, as its title suggests, encourages people to be happy in the face of even bad news. It is important to point out that Williams does not cite any one race, gender, or economic class as being more or less happier than any other. Instead, he promotes happiness no matter the external conditions. Hence, the song is essentially free of any social stratification. This song also demonstrates the norm shift towards betterment of the self, showing that in order to better oneself, one must be happy. The second song I chose to analyze was the 2017 song Chained to the Rhythm by Katy Perry. The title of this song is interesting as it talks of a rhythm, something to which people naturally and voluntarily dance, having people chained to it, as if the rhythm is some sort of punishment. In this sense, the song can be shown to represent Perry's views on the Trump administration, the rhythm in that example being an allegory for the propaganda. In terms of social stratification, this song portrays a scary world, one in which the common people are subject to the whims of the elite class. This song, however, attempts to fight that, and this is especially evident in the bridge of the song sung by Skip Marley, in which he sings that time is ticking for the empire, and that it is his desire to break down the walls, which are assumed to be the strict class divisions, and also maybe referencing the fact that Trump promised he would build a wall. This certainly is a rebellious song, one in which Perry is attempting to show Americans that the values of the Trump administration go against her belief of equality. In what at first seems like a happy song about partying based on the rhythm and the general feel of the music, Sia actually demonstrates alcohol addiction in her 2014 song Chandelier. This ties back to the expressiveness of artists discussed in slide 7, and this song certainly is a good example, as Sia is certainly singing about her past struggles with alcohol. She sings of the cycle of an addict from downing so many shots that she loses count, to feeling the hangover and shame the next morning. In terms of social stratification, again, no social classes are mentioned, and they don't have to be, as an alcohol addict could be anyone from any social class. The mosaic of songs that exist in the genre of modern pop music show a society emerging from belief in traditionalist values and emerging into a time unlike anything the world has seen before. This subtle but present intellectual change is certainly demonstrated in the fact that the songs of that time period cover different topics than their predecessors did, however still retaining some of the same traditionalist values. The 2010s were a decade of advancement. Technologically, yes, but also intellectually, forming seemingly a bridge between what came before and whatever will come after. And in order to understand and truly see this shift, one need not look further than the decade's songs. Thank you.